Starting with a young couple who maintains a perfect relationship, Simon is a caricaturist artist, while Fabian runs an art gallery. One day Simon he decides to visit his father on his birthday and takes the opportunity to introduce his girlfriend to the family. When they arrive at his family's house, we sees his father named Carl, a successful psychologist who prays with his friends and family. There he also observes a woman named Sonia, whom he does not know. Simon's mother receives them and invites them to meet with everyone, while some are eating, and some guests ask Simon why he left medical school. At that moment, his father intervenes to tell them that his son is an artist and will be successful. Fabian also tells them that Simon has been nominated for an award for his job. Later, while helping her mother, she tells him that she needs help with Carl's new book since she feels very pressured. However, Simon tells her that he is too busy with his art to help her. At that moment, Simon realizes that his father is alone with the woman. Confused, Simon asks his dad's friend about her, and he tells her that she is Simon's dad's new secretary. After a while, suddenly his mother begins to have an attack and Simon immediately gets to her for help and worried because he thought his mother doesn't do it anymore. We understand that she used to experience this kind of attack in the past, but it had been a long time since she hadn't suffered from such an attack. Simon and Fabian talk about what happened at the party, and the next day Simon meets with Fabian to show her his new sketches for the exhibition they will have in 3 weeks. However, Fabian is not convinced by Simon's drawings. At that point, they are interrupted by Simon's mother, who asks him to speak privately and alone. She asks him to help her transcribe her dad's book, but Simon again refuses. He denies because he has to finish his sketches. His mother begs him to do it so she can go on vacation with Carl, her husband, because if he doesn't help her, she will have to stay, and her husband will go with Sonia, his mistress, who she thinks they have an affair. Simon decides to accept just so that his mother can get her marriage back. Fabian does not like the idea because she fears that it will affect their project at the art gallery, but he assures her that will manage to finish it on time. Simon goes to his family's house where the offices are also located. There, his father explains in detail how he will transcribe the lectures. Between the conversation, Carl confesses that he has a relationship with Sonia, his secretary. He tells Simon that he is totally in love with her, and it saddens Simon. When finally his parents say goodbye and leave, Simon begins to work on the transcription. At dusk, they go to the awards ceremony where Simon was nominated. However, at the delivery, Simon is not chosen and Fabian consoles him by telling him that those people have no idea of art. The next day, he continues with the transcription, and during lunch, Sonia approaches and complains that he has no idea about art. When he gets home, Simon tries to draw something, but that night he doesn't feel inspired, so he tries to distract himself by talking to his roommate. The next morning, Simon listens to Sonia talking on the phone and arguing with Carl because she feels used. Right there, he also receives a call from his father who asks him not to talk to Sonia of nothing but work to avoid ruining their relationship. That same day, an assistant of Carl tells Simon that Sonia used to be a patient of Carl, and that leaves Simon very intrigued. Later, a young woman looks for Carl, but when Sonia notices this, she is annoyed and asks the girl to leave. At the end of his shift, Simon looks for the USB where he has to transfer the transcripts. He goes to Sonia's office, but finds her crying. He helps her with some tissues, and she hugs him, then unexpectedly kisses him, and Simon leaves the place confused. The next day, he tries to continue with his work. However, he can't stop thinking about the kiss, so he tries to clarify everything and goes to Sonia and asks her if the kiss meant something, but she tells him that it was just a silly impulse. When Sonia and the others leave, Simon decides to find out more about Sonia's past and searches for her files when she was his dad's patient, but before he can read it, someone knocks on the door. When he opens, he sees a delivery man with a bouquet of roses. When he reads the sender, he realizes that they were sent by his father to Sonia. The very annoyed Simon takes the roses to a vacant lot and gets rid of them. Later, Simon meets Fabian, and he realizes that she is trying to hire the same artist who won at the awards ceremony, which bothers him a lot. When Simon returns to the office, Sonia angrily asks him about the roses, but he answers that has no idea. Some moments later, Simon realizes that she is talking to her father, so Simon gets on another line and starts listening to their conversation, where his father considers him a failure with mental problems. He leaves furious, but first telling Sonia that his father sees her just like him, a brain dead. He takes the train, and when he arrives at his owner workplace, he sees Fabian and others organizing the gallery with the new artist. Just then, Simon receives a call from his father calling him out for creating problems. Simon responds that he is quitting the job, but his mother convinces him to do it because of her. Fabian also breaks his heart by revealing that his paintings are irrelevant for their projects, and that he is no longer included to the team. After this, Simon returns to the office where he finds Sonia looking for the key to the files to see if Simon's earlier statement about his father seeing her also as a mental is true. Simon gives her the files that he couldn't read earlier in this movie, and when he returns for the file to put it back, he finds Sonia sad after reading Carl's comments about her, and when he approaches, she kisses him intensely and asks him to go somewhere more private. Simon follows her to one of the rooms where she provokes him, and they end up having an intimate moment in the office's bedroom. Then they decide to call off the workday, and she gives Simon a ride for a while and tells him that they can continue hanging out whenever he wants. This makes Simon delighted and begins to feel more cheerful. However, things change when his roommate tells him that Fabian has been very attached to the new artist. That night they arrive at a party where Fabian having fun. After seeing Simon sad, Fabian goes over and kisses him. Simon, feeling very guilty, confesses that has slept with Sonia, which breaks Fabian's heart. Disappointed, Fabian tells him that there is no way to save their relationship, then leaves the place. After Fabian leaves him, Simon receives a message from Sonia, inviting him to her apartment. Simon, without hesitation, arrives at his apartment. She takes it to her bedroom, and they end up doing it again. Sonia, who had already prepared a dinner, invites Simon to the table. After dinner and some chatting, Simon spends the night with Sonia, and when he wakes up, she's not there, but she did leave a note telling him she'll be back soon. After some minutes, Simon is surprised by his father, who enters the apartment, and he is also surprised to see his son there. Carl understands what is happening and tells his son that Sonia always wanted a baby, and since he can't give it to her, they have had many problems. At that moment, Sonia shows up and gives Simon a kiss in front of his father, then asks him to leave. As Simon gets dressed and leaving, Sonia asks him if he told anything to his father before her arriving, to which he responds that she already discovered it all to his father, and that what happened between them was all about some kind of retaliation against his father, but not because of any affection for Simon. She admits that it was getting back to his father, and for him as well. Everything in Simon's head begins to walk around, and when he returns to his apartment, he receives a call from his mother, who tells him that Carl is going to live with Sonia. At that moment, Simon's mother begins to have another attack, so Simon arrives quickly, and his mother complains to him because he made things worse, and she thinks it's his fault that Carl abandoned her. That hits Simon hard because he believes he is responsible for everything. He arrives at the studio, tries to get Fabian back, and begs her to forgive him, but she tells him that he must walk away and accept that it's over. Simon returns to his apartment, destroys all of his works, and then he has an attack that causes him to end up in the hospital. His father tells him that he never wanted to ruin him with his personal life, but Simon tells him that he ruined his mother's life, making her to lose her mind. Carl tells him that he really loves his mother and wants to be with her always, but he also loves Sonia. A few months later, we see that Simon is now enrolled in medical school and goes to the presentation of his father's new book. There, he observes Sonia is pregnant and her mother, who tells him that she will take care of Carl's son because Sonia won't be able to. Sometime later, Simon returns home for another family reunion. Sonia hands him her baby, and after seeing this, he only has to accept that she used him all the time to fulfill her and his father's whim. And that's how our story ends. Remember to see if we deserve a like or comment.